Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Gloves Are Off podcast. Here is your host, Mark Rizzoli.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the Gloves Are Off podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about trans athletes and why are the Democrats allowing female sports to be targeted. Now, here's the problem right away. Look at these two individuals. This is the women of the Biden administration. Does anybody out there with a working brain cell think this is not mental illness? Okay. I mean, the fact that you have the president of the United States hires these two individuals based on their DEI beliefs, not even remotely qualified. You have the one on the left, Dr. Levine. He's hired as the health secretary. And then you have the luggage thief on the right, who's now a former Energy Department employee, Sam Brinton. Okay. These two is clearly they're suffering from mental illness. The fact that you have people who are trying to make this seem normal is the problem. And the reason why I bring this up because when you have this going on the level of the White House, this is why people feel it's okay now to start targeting girls' sports, women's sports, dress as females in high school and go into the girls' bathroom and locker room. And no one's defending these people, these children and women. And it's going to continue until parents start getting engaged on the school level. And it's at the point now where women just need to boycott an event where these transgender athletes are participating in. And let's face it, the reason why they're participating in female sports is because they suck as male athletes. They can't compete. We have to say it for what it is. When did this become okay? You parents out there, when you signed your little girls up to school, did you sign a waiver waiving their rights away where they don't have a right to enjoy themselves or have privacy in the bathroom or the locker room, participate in girls' sports? Did you give these school districts permission to allow boys to dress up as girls and participate in sports? I mean, this is unbelievable.
I agree with that, Mark. It is unbelievable. Why don't you give the audience some background on what a trans woman is? Because sometimes it's confusing. Is a trans woman a
listen,
biological male?
it's only confusing to the Phil Murphys of the world, NJEA, Garden State Equality. The fact is, it's someone born a male who now is trying to say he's a female. He's identifying. Let me get it right. They'll be calling me the homophobe next. Not that I really care. I get called all kinds of phobes. I'm the phobe guy.
So what does the science say for these trans athletes? Does it say that during, before, after puberty, do these trans women have a physiological advantage over women?
No doubt about it. I mean, you're talking about heart and lung capacity. The strength of the transgender far exceeds those of women, and the testosterone levels, regardless of what they're injected with, it's still far above females. And listen, that's why they're now identifying as women and participating in female sports. Because let's face it, they're going to be taking scholarships away from girls who've worked hard. And I'm going to get back to it's time we denounce this. It's mistreatment and intimidation of girls and their parents and women. They're being intimidated on every level. We see the teachers' unions doing it. We see Garden State Equality. The moment a concerned parent speaks out, they get called all kinds of names, right? They're radicals, MAGA. That's the thing. We discussed this before. Extremists,
Terrorists.
racist, homophobe, terrorist, domestic terrorists for sticking up for their child. But unfortunately, I like to see more dads get engaged in this. We see mama bears at meetings. We can see those papa bears come in. It's time to start calling these $200,000 a year plus superintendents out for not having the intestinal fortitude to stand up to this. How do you turn your back on little girls? So these people who brag about their level of education, obviously they lack common sense. Because if common sense is applied here, any individual with a working brain cell would say that if a boy showed up to school dressed as a girl, carrying, female products, and wants to use the bathroom and the locker room and join female sports, obviously he needs psychological help. But what do? I attended a meeting recently, probably a month and a half ago. Of course, it was held in the cafeteria because, God forbid, if we have cameras in the regular studio where the Board of Ed meeting is held. So teachers proceeded to get up because, let's face it, without anybody filming them, they felt free to say that, 5750, so we have to protect boys who identify as girls because they're being abused at home. So, of course, I immediately said, my detective side of me, where's the evidence of this? Has the police been notified? Has DIFUS been notified? If there's so much abuse at home, why aren't the school administrators doing their jobs and notifying the proper authorities? Because the fact is, it's not happening. They make up any bullshit they want to justify their ideology. And this is all about party ideology. And the question is, why is such a low percentage of the population now dictating to everyone else?
Yeah, they're the louder. They're the squeaky wheel.
Well, they hide behind keyboards.
Right.
And they take advantage of the fact that most parents are working, right? Because you can't afford to live in New Jersey anymore without two parents working. And he or she don't have time to make it to a Board of Ed meeting that starts at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6:30. The special meeting happened to start at 6 o'clock. How convenient while people are commuting.
Right.
And they bring in these transgender radicals from other towns because they put out all kinds of messages on social media. And they make it sound like they're being targeted. No one's being targeted. I want to see the evidence that substantiates their claims, because up until today, it hasn't been produced.
Right.
All we keep hearing about, right? They're being mistreated by everyone. Okay, so what's your response to that? How do they respond to it? They're mistreating girls. Women are being mistreated, intimidated. Girls are being injured.
Yep. Let's look at some of the examples. You sent me one this week, so let me put it up here on the screen. This is a picture of a trans woman golfer, 30-year-old James Davidson, who calls himself Haley Davidson. He's got hope of making it to the LPGA, and he's well on his way. His latest win propelled him to the top of the tour's leaderboard, where he boasts a total score of 1320, a whopping 150 points ahead of the woman in second place. He wasn't deemed eligible to compete for the LPGA until 2021, when at that time he had been on hormone replacement therapy for 5 years. And he's also had full gender reassignment surgery. So what do you have to say about this guy?
Well, clear. There's no business competing in any female competition, especially with golf. Listen, you can almost guarantee. I could only just imagine how many more yards he can hit the golf ball, than a woman can. So, it's just another example. What is this? What's the message being sent to young girls who want to participate in sports? You talk about turning children off, demoralizing them. No one seems to be concerned about that. If a young girl who's worked hard her entire athletic career in grammar school and into high school, all of a sudden this boy who is identifying a girl steps on. And we've seen in track in Connecticut, right? Girls who champion track. Boy shows up, blows them away, sets new records. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, here's a great example of what you're talking about. This is Leah Thompson. He's the first trans woman, I think, to win a national title title. So he's from UPenn, and he's blowing away the competition in the pool. Besides all the advantages that he clearly has over the female swimmers, he's also allowed to use the same locker room as the rest of the team. And it just subjects all of those females to changing clothes in front of him, and he changes in front of them, and it is swimming. So they get right down to the bare necessities there. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, when I was researching this, and I didn't notice at the time. Obviously, I knew about what was occurring at UPenn and the women's sports. Uh, Gaines said that the girls said he was walking around the locker room with an erection.
Mm.
Is that, and people think that's normal? The NCAA thought that was okay. That the female athletes were told to use other locker rooms. I mean, where's the Me Too movement? They're nowhere to be found.
I mean, how would you, as a parent, you have a young daughter, how would you like her in the locker room with a biological male?
Oh, it wouldn't happen because I'd drag him out by his freaking collar. I mean, who the hell is he? It's at the point now where these girls need to start boycotting these events. You know what? You have no respect for us as female athletes? Boycott the event. There's no event now. But of course, we later found out these girls were being intimidated by the universities. The Ivy League schools. We call it, I saw they're calling it the poison ivy now. So true, poison ivy. But see, it starts with something small. I don't want to change the subject, but things like the little thing like this, it's obvious. It's actually a big thing. I shouldn't even say it's a little thing. It transitions to worse things like what we see now with the anti-Semitism. I don't want to get off topic, but we see what's going on in Ivy League. It's poison ivy campuses.
Right. Well, these swimmers, especially, if you think about it, the girls that are there now swimming, they have been swimming to get to where they are at UPenn with the scholarships that they have at the level that they compete. They have been swimming probably for a decade and a half at 5 o'clock in the morning before school starts. Then they go to school all day. Then they have swim practice in the evening, and then they have to do their homework, and then they get up and they do it all over again. These girls have worked hard their entire lives to get to where they are. And not just the girls, but it requires, an Uber. The parents have to get up to it. They have to get everybody ready at 4:30 in the morning to get them to swim practice before school. I mean, this is a huge effort on the part of these families for these girls to get to where they are, to be completely blown away by, a 6 foot something transgender woman.
I'm glad you said something. I was going to mention about the early morning practices. This also applies to, girls playing ice hockey. You get the rinks 6 in the morning. I have a friend of mine whose daughter swims. They're at the pool all hours because that's a huge commitment to work and become a tremendous swimmer. It's dedication, but it's like any sport. I mean, just think, you're going to have them infiltrating softball. Imagine a third baseman, a girl playing third base. Some transgender gets up, hits a line drive down the third base line, or back at the pitcher, taking their scholarships. That's what bothers me. When you have that type of athletic commitment to whatever sports young girls decide they want to play, why should they lose a scholarship, an opportunity at a free education because of this DEI bullshit? And that's what it is.
Right.
Okay. I mean, we have right now, we have, just think about this, everyone out there. You have Garden State Equality and the NJEA sanctioning this stuff, and they're governing your state because they have purchased access to the governor. I mean, it's just like going on. I mean, it's going on throughout the whole country, but I just wanted to mention about New Jersey. The last time I checked, they weren't on a ballot. None of these groups were.
All right.
And that's why I get back. Make sure you vote.
All right. So here's this one's confusing to me. This is trans wrestler Mac Begg, and Mac was born a woman, but he she is transitioning into a man. And here's where it gets complicated, where it kind of confuses the heck out of me. Mac was banned from wrestling with boys, so she continued wrestling with girls, even though she was transitioning using testosterone. So as a result, she won the Texas girls 110-pound division for 2 years in a row. So she's got this advantage because they won't let her wrestle with the guys yet, but she's transitioning and she's taking testosterone. What do you think about that?
Well, it's another case, right, where everyone's looking the other way because they want to make no one angry. I mean, obviously, the testosterone has given her a big advantage, but that's the argument again. You have drug testing and everything, where if you get caught, you get disqualified. You know, your championship's taken away, but yet you have another transgender where the rules are different, allowing to have all testosterone and everything to get that a competitive advantage, and nothing said. I mean, winning championships. When you win championships, especially I mean, a state like Texas where sports are big. I mean, there's a lot of good schools there, a lot of scholarships available. Just the ramifications of this, it goes down to, grade school girl.
Yep.
And let's face it, everybody has access to the internet now. I mean, everybody's online, no matter, first grade up. They read what's going on. No one's going to tell me it's not discouraging young athletes. I'm sorry. You're not going to win that argument with me.
Agreed.
No one seems to care, though, because they're so concerned about this trans ideology.
Right. Now, here's the big question. This is the one you're going to like. Can Democrat policymakers support trans women participating in women's sports and still claim to be champions of women?
Of course not. They're such hypocrites. They claim to be the party of the woman, right? Women's rights, Democrats, they fight for it. Or follow the science. That's what they say all the time. Follow the science. The only science that Democrats follow, it's political science. Okay, they don't follow science at all. It's what they're about, their ideology. And make no mistake about it, they're not going to change the ways. The only way this is going to stop, we need to change in the White House. And I'm not here to campaign for anyone. This show's about standing up for female athletes, young girls who have dreams. That's another thing. Everybody's so concerned about illegals, these so-called dreamers. But in the meantime, they're stepping all over American girls' dreams. Young girls who have dreams of being collegiate athletes, work their asses off, have the dedication of parents. People forget that too. I know you mentioned it earlier, but the parents who have to get up early in the morning, take their children to practice, come back home, go to work. I mean, it's a big thing. But yet, you have these Democrats, especially here in New Jersey. It's all about trans, right? Child mutilation. We're a sanctuary state for trans surgery now. I call it child mutilation because that's what it's all about.
Right. Well, as you wrap up this particular episode about trans sports, we definitely we need to hear from your audience too. I think that we need to do a show where you talk about policy 5756, if you want to give a quick preview of what that is, just in case the audience doesn't know. And I think we need to dedicate an entire show to that.
Oh, I agree. I mean, 5756 is basically it's a parental rights issue where they don't want to tell parents what's going on when a child wants to become transition into a different sex. The last time I checked, no one signs a form giving the school district or the state or the government permission to co-parent. Okay, so
right.
I'm looking forward to getting into 5756 because there's a lot of people who's going to be exposed with this. You have people who ran for the Board of Ed in certain towns, and now that they were opposed to it, now that he or she was elected, now they're going the other way on it. So I'm looking forward to discussing this because this is the root of the problem.
Well, you'll have lots of stuff to talk about. There's no doubt about that. Plenty of material.
Yeah,
So
I'm
you
gonna
want
get
to,
some moms. I want to get some mothers on the show. Feel free to reach out. Love to interview you. Hear what you
absolutely.
have to say. I think the people out there like to hear what you have to say. You know, you're the ones attending meetings. Give us. Get people informed what's going on. That's the best way to do it.
Great.
And
We should,
everyone out there, shoot us some feedback. You think it's okay for transgenders to be competing in female sports? Let us know what you think.
yep.
I don't think so. I think it's mental health. These people need health, need help mentally. Go see a psychiatrist. That's what schools should be providing, not making it easier for them to do it.
That's true. Well, let's wrap up this episode. And yeah, I think it was a really good one and one that needed to be discussed. So get some subscribers, Mark. Let's hear what you have to say to wrap this up.
Yeah, listen, as always, stay informed, do research and tune in again. Talking about 57, 56. I want to thank you for joining us again, and I look forward to the next show. Have a great day, everyone.